Yeah, I think I need to know what happens next. So, let's do more of the Frieren anime thing, because I'm feeling yappy, and I don't think I'm going to be feeling any less yappy until this goddamn thing is over with. They're animating a new season of this, right? Madhouse is doing more of this, right? Right? I assume so. They must be. They can't possibly just do half of this and then just leave it. On the other hand, I don't know how far along the manga is, actually, which I should really read that as well, because it has a really nice art style. Anyway, Frieren, anime, reaction, watch it together. Here's how it works if you've not been along to one of these before, in which case, again, genuinely, if this is the first one you're watching and you're starting at episode 22, let me know in the comments why. Why would you do that? Why is that the way that you do it? Let me know in the comments, but here's how it works. Imagine you and I are sitting on the couch next to each other, each with our own laptop, and rather than watching the same anime on the same screen with the same speakers, we each have our own individual headphones and we're watching it on our own screens. Why are we doing it this very silly, impractical way? I don't know. Think of an imaginary fanfic scenario that ends up with us kissing, probably, something like that. But anyway, the way that this works is that we're watching Frieren together. You have the anime on your screen, I have the anime on my screen, but I can't show you the anime on my screen because there's a copyright lawyer who will kill me if I do that. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and then go. We'll both go at the same time, and you can see I obscure the anime a little bit as I'm watching here, but the subtitles still appear, and there's a timer in the top left corner. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, I see something I need to yap about. 3, 2, 1, pause. And then I'll pause together with you simultaneously, and then I'll yap about the thing I need to yap about. And when I'm done yapping about the thing I need to yap about, 3, 2, 1, go. That's the way that this works. Is it a little bit impractical? Is it sort of inconvenient relative to a lot of other reaction content on YouTube? Abso-fucking-lutely, but this is the way that I do it because of the way that I am as a person, and I am not interested in going to the amount of therapy it's going to take to change that for the sake of an anime reaction video on YouTube. So, this is how it's going to go. If you're ready, then, let's see what else happens in Frieren. 3, 2, 1, go. And it is, of course, a fantastic way to introduce all of these people to each other by opening with a test that requires all of them to sort of subtly attempt to murder each other. Great way to foster, friendship and collaboration between them. It's not. It's a great way to foster hostility, distrust, and competition. Which, again, seems to rather be the point. And again, I've been warbling on about, philosophies of power and all that. I don't know that that's where Frieren is going. I really don't. It could be going anywhere. It could be doing anything with Siri in particular. I'm sure she's going to have her reasons for being the way that she is. Just that, doesn't really matter what the reason is. If you have the cure to cancer just sitting in your magic library and you're just hoarding that shit until someone sufficiently uses their magic to brutalize other people to your satisfaction, that's evil. Doesn't really matter why you're doing it. If you have a good reason for it, that's an evil thing to do. Doesn't make you Hitler, but doesn't make you nice either. I probably should specify that, actually, because that's something I run into a lot. So let's pause. 3, 2, 1, pause. When I call a character evil, and when I describe and talk about evil in fiction, I'm not talking about evil in the sort of ontological Christian sense, right? I'm not talking about virtue and sin in that sort of specific culturally Christian way where it's like, oh, some people are evil, and that means they are, beyond the sight of God, and they deserve, death or whatever. That's not the way I'm talking about it. Evil is something people do. It's something everyone does. I do it sometimes, you do it sometimes. It's a feature of human existence, and the struggle with evil is a feature of human existence. A person struggling with evil doesn't mean, oh, well, they have to die then. In fact, I tend to believe rather the opposite of that there are better cures for evil than killing, because killing also has a tendency to spawn a lot of evil, right? So when I say Siri sitting on something like a cancer cure for her own amusement is evil, I don't mean that in the sense of, well, this is an irredeemable monster, and it would be good if she was just, like, immediately gun to her head, blow her brains out all of it. Like, no. I would like for her to stop sitting on the cancer cure and go cure people. Like, that is the remedy I would like to the evil that she is doing, is that she stops doing it and starts doing good things instead. Right? That's my moral position here, and that's the approach I take. So when I say Ciri is evil for that, I don't mean, well, she's an irredeemable monster and she's the villain of the story, and the only valid conclusion to the story is if bad things happen to her. Right? I don't need the narrative to punish her for being evil. Like, that, some stories benefit from that. Some stories benefit from the bad guy being punished. Some don't. And in reality, most of the time, the people who do evil aren't punished. And even if you do punish them, it doesn't really help. So I don't really demand that kind of moral simplicity from my narrative side. Just gonna get ahead of that, because sometimes people leave these very angry comments at me because they sort of approach, at least I identify it as a kind of Christian perspective on evil. That saying that someone is evil is identifying them with the devil, in a sort of ontological holy war where you place, like, everyone in the universe on one side or the other of virtue, depending on like how exactly they align with a certain position on a sort of religious moral spectrum. I try to stay away from that. But I still need the word evil to describe things that characters do. So if I mean that someone is irredeemable, don't worry, I will say irredeemable. But if I say someone's evil, that's not what I like. I don't mean kill them now, they are monsters, they deserve to be eliminated from the world forever. That is not the point I'm getting at with evil. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, good background. Just me absolutely groaning like a monkey every time a nice watercolor painting shows up. Why are you sleeping in all of your clothes, dude? I'm glad we get to see Stark doing some stuff, though. Oh, they're really luxuriating in that boots putting on bit. Very nice. Uh-oh. Lazy time is over. You drank juice? Oh, come on, man. Did he mean cider? Was he actually just drinking apple juice? That would be very funny. It's like, oh, the sinful life you have led, Mr. Stark, staying up late and drinking apple juice at night. Oh my god, Frieren really was raised by a priest. She was raised by Hyter. How is she? Okay. Well, she was raised by Hyter. Maybe that's why she's extra sensitive to people staying up too late and drinking. But if he was drinking juice, man, maybe that's okay. Ah, we're complicating them now. Ooh, love the look of those artifacts here. Also, oh, background. That's funny that we're complicating him by making him like a nice gentleman who's sweet to old ladies. So what does he want with that magic privilege. Donuts. I do. Well, actually, hang on. 3, 2, 1, pause. I need to now. I'm sorry. I need to go on Wikipedia for a second. I need to know something. I need to know when the donut was invented. Let's see. A recipe for a deep-fried dough ball was recorded by Cato the Elder in his De Agricultura using cheese, honey, and poppy seeds called globy. That sounds fucking delicious. Oh, hang on. Let's see. So, okay, so it might have... Oh, that's interesting. So, like, donuts with central holes in them might be reasonably new as a thing, but, like, the idea of deep frying a bit of dough is like 1485, it says here. Offers a recipe for gefüllte Krapfen, stuffed fried dough cakes. That's from the cookbook Küchenmeisterei, published in Nuremberg in 1485. Spanish and Portuguese churro is a choux pastry dough that would also be served in a ring shape, so that may be a predecessor to the donut. That's interesting. That recipe may have been bought from or introduced to China in the 16th century. But no, yeah, like, so the thing I'm curious about, because, like, the modern form of the donut, apparently, I'm just skimming Wikipedia for you here, was brought by Dutch settlers to New York or New Amsterdam, and then from there, it seems to have sort of entered, like, the general sort of culinary parlance of the Americas. And then eventually, like, have been served with the idea of, like arranging the dough in a ring. Presumably, it's like, this is my own assumption, but presumably making the dough into a ring is so that the deep frying can touch more surface of the pastry. That makes sense. That's interesting. Anyway, I saw her eating a donut and I was like, wasn't that invented like in the late 1790s or 18th century or something by the Americans? And I was like, this is more of a medieval tech setting. Would they have had the technology to produce an artifact as sophisticated as the donut at that time? And it turns out, apparently, yes. Apparently, like sort of deep frying batter is like an old thing, which makes sense. Like, that's not a complicated thing to achieve, I suppose. Huh. Cool. Anyway, what was I talking about? Right. So, we talked about how the test itself seems precision engineered to encourage and reward certain kinds of behaviors from mages, right? Specifically, being extremely competitive and being violent with one another and using their magic to to force their will upon the world, right? Rather than acting peacefully and collaboratively, right? Like, imagine if you'd given them all a task that was like, oh, all of you together collectively have to catch 6 birds, right? And everyone has to contribute to it in some way, where the test is, how can you find a way in which, even though maybe one person is ultra bird catcher 5,000 and can catch all the birds on their own, can we find a way to conduct this task in such a way as to make the widest possible use of many different magic disciplines and specialties in order to, and if you can't find a way for everyone to contribute to the task, then you all collectively fail. That's a very different test that encourages a very different kind of thinking, right? So I'm interested to see that we take this guy who was quite cold and heartless in the context of the test, and then we see him like hanging out outside of the context of the test, and he's like, oh, this seems like a decent, ordinary man. And it's almost as though the material circumstances of like the specific organizational structure that he was being pushed into had some pretty significant effects on his psychology and his mode of behavior, because the structure of incentives and the structure of like socially accepted and normal behavior was changed, and ordinary people can change quite dramatically under those circumstances. Maybe that's the point it's making, or maybe he is just still the same cold motherfucker and he just kind of puts on an affable air to be a shopkeeper. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Hey, I know a way to find out. Let's watch the episode. 3, 2, 1, go. But he has forgotten the directions. I do like Denkin. Like, as a character, he's fun. Because, like, he clearly has a breadth of experience and understanding. I am often very glad that anime uses human voice actors to voice their kittens. Because if they used real cats, it would kill me. Are we doing a Mega Nico joke with him? Is that what it is? Oh, I guess we are. Hey, are you about to kill him? She's definitely probably gonna try and kill him. Good impulse. Follow that. She figured it out, did she? Oh, that's an interesting little murder pervert we've got there. Good spine on that kid. You probably should mind. But nice little gambit there, buddy boy. Good understanding. Like, to be like, okay, what's my one card I have to play now? This could be the beginning of a wonderfully toxic relationship. Three, two, one, pause. I'm curious about what the deal is with her, right? She thinks nothing of killing, but specifically when Virbel says, like, yeah, no, actually killing sucks, For real, actually. It's like, it's real bad, and I don't like doing it, and I rather wouldn't, lady. And that's the thing where she empathizes with him. The question is whether that's empathy in the sense of, oh, okay, I have figured out the way that he sees the world, even if I don't feel any intimate connection with that. Like, because it's possible to be... I want to be careful with my word choice here, because the words sociopath and psychopath don't mean what the vast majority of people think it means. Again, returning to the topic of evil, being a psychopath or being a sociopath, or a narcissist for that matter, doesn't make you evil. It doesn't make you just be a harmful person who is ontologically a threat or damaging to everyone who is around you. That's not how that works. And as with pretty much any form of mental illness, having any of those conditions, like we have the stereotype of like the high-powered businessman who is also a high-functioning sociopath, and he's like uses his position of power to enact cruelty on others around him. Like, yes, there are some social patterns where people who have like narcissistic personality disorder or like forms of sociopathy will seek out positions of high social power, like because like they are attracted to those positions of control. But also, like with every single form of mental illness, being a narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath renders you, statistically speaking, substantially more likely to be the victim than the perpetrator of violence. This is something that's important to understand, because what those disorders do is give you a lot of problems functioning in a social society. And yeah, we see the sociopaths who rise to the top, right? Like the high functioning, as we call it. The people who manage to become like millionaires or billionaires because capitalism engineers an environment that rewards you for not being super empathetic or attendant to other people's needs, which can be one of the features of sociopathical personality disorders, right? What we don't see is the vast overwhelming majority of people with sociopathy or psychopathy. And those diagnoses are controversial, it should also be said. Like, it's, to the best of my knowledge, there's a lot of debate in the mental health care community about whether those diagnoses even make sense with their current criteria. But the vast majority of people who have those conditions, have those disorders, they ain't rich. They're poor. They are poor, they are marginalized, they struggle to hold down a job, they struggle to function normally in society. And one of the reasons why a person with those disorders might end up being quite toxic to the people around them is, well, that's sort of a general effect of poverty and discrimination on human beings, just like at a baseline. If you live in poverty and you're discriminated against and you can't be a functioning member of society, is like, it doesn't matter what mental conditions you have, you are much more likely to be a toxic, harmful person if you are excluded from a society that cares for your needs, right? So I want to be very careful about this when I say that, like, okay, is this a depiction of someone who has a disorder of that kind, like a sociopathic personality disorder, or like an empathy gap, where they struggle to develop the capacity to feel empathy for other human beings? Like, is that what we're trying to depict here? And so that's why she seeks out people in this way, like in search of some form of connection to them. But also, like, she's led a violent life that has left her with really no compunction against killing or doing violence to other people. Like, are we trying to go for like a nuanced portrayal of the things that having that kind of personality disorder can do to a person, the kinds of experiences it can expose them to? I'm curious about that, because oftentimes in, well, all popular media, but certainly also in anime, when you have the merciless killer psychopath character, they have a tendency to be depicted as just kind of ontologically evil, right? Maybe charming, maybe fun, maybe interesting, but they tend to fall on the spectrum of like, that one's evil, right? Like, that one's evil, scary, dangerous, monstrous, demonic, whatever. And it's a pity, because, like, I should stress, I'm not a mental health care expert. I'm not a psychiatrist. Like, I've just done enough research on sociopathy, psychopathy from a layman's perspective to know that it's more complicated than you think, right? These conditions, these disorders are more complicated than you think they are. And for the people who suffer with those conditions, it's not a good time. They're not mustache twirling cartoon villains going, I am evil, and I'm going to enact my evil upon the world. It sucks to have those personality disorders, actually, especially since the nature of the disorders themselves can sometimes make it incredibly difficult not only to seek care, but also to receive care. Like, this is something that I know that diagnosed narcissists struggle with a lot, is that the whole nature of a narcissistic personality disorder is one in which it is extremely difficult to receive judgment and criticism from other people, which is kind of sometimes what you need in order to do effective therapy, right? These are disorders that impair people's ability to take care of themselves in very real ways. And I'd be curious to see an empathetic exploration of someone who struggles to feel empathy, right? Because the struggle to feel empathy is not exclusively a sociopathy thing. It's not exclusively a narcissistic personality disorder thing. In fact, many people with narcissistic personality disorder feel intense empathy in it to the point that they can't control it, and it distresses them, and it causes some of their bad. Like, it's complicated. Human beings are complicated. Psychological disorders are complicated. There are many, many gradations and types of every kind of mental disorder you can think of. It's not universal. It's all human and wobbly and difficult. But, like, autistic people can sometimes struggle to feel empathy. Depending on the expression of their autism and, like, the way that they're brought up and all of that, like, they can struggle to feel empathy as well. They can struggle to connect with people. And in those same ways, like, certain people who live with undiagnosed and unsupported autism, like, that can also lead you into lives of precarity and violence. There's overlap. Not that they're the same thing. They are not. They are absolutely not. Just there's overlap there. And I think there are stories to be told about people who struggle with empathy, about people who struggle to feel that connection which comes so normally and naturally to most human beings that, like, we don't have manuals on how to feel empathy. We just do it. Because it's, for most of us, it's just kind of programmed in. So how do you help someone who doesn't have that automatic reflex, right? How do you help them learn what empathy is, what to feel, like, what to look for, how to feel it, or how to understand it? Yeah. I went off on a tangent here, just that I would be interested to see such stories told. If you have any recommendations about stories like that, I would love to hear them in the comments. I'm sure there's some interesting graphic novels somewhere that I haven't heard about, or just a novel in general. I just got curious, like, whether that's what we're doing with her, right? Like, whether that's the way we're going to complicate her from the murder pervert that she has shown herself to be so far, that for her, like, this, she doesn't really know any other way to feel a connection to another person except to get into a life and death situation where they have to show her who they are. And then she can connect with them and empathize with them, and by stealing their magic, or, like, doing that, like, that feels like a connection. And because she's desperate for it, and it's the only place she feels like she can get it, that's where she goes. I don't know. That might be interesting. I don't know. But what an interesting character. And I do like I do like fucking Sigma mindset Reddit Naruto over here. It's like very sensible assessment of the situation. Is like, the only thing she has told me is that she can steal people's magic by empathizing with them, and clearly she has an objective that she wants to steal people's magic. She wants to learn my clone magic. The only way she's going to get that if she can empathize with me. Okay, if you kill me, you can't empathize with me anymore, so you won't get what you want. That's my one card I can play to get out of this, because I am paralyzed and she could kill me if she wanted to. Like, oh, okay. Like, very... Like, okay, like, very, very sensible mindset. But also, we saw him looking at the kitten, right? And, like, there was that little Kuleshov effect thing of, like, oh, okay, he's like, oh, that's a lost kitten. If that kitten hadn't had its mom around, he would have helped it, right? Like, we know that just from seeing that. It's like, he would have helped it. Like, he would have learned, okay, well, I guess I need to go get you to your mom now. So, like, this desire in him for, like this weakness to helplessness that I'm curious about with him. We'll see. We'll see how many of these characters get to have time to really be built out. But back to back to granddad, frustrated son, and adorable granddaughter who can teleport. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hey! You don't want to hear stories from the legendary mage who defeated the Demon King? Okay. Omuraisu. Or omelet, I guess. I do like the giant pile of steak. It's when she's exerted a lot of magic, right? She needs to restore it. It was a side quest reward. That's funny. Again, I'm thinking about like the history of food. Like, would they have those kinds of parfaits at a medieval tech level? Like, what's the supply chain? What's the supply chain that's necessary to produce what Fern is eating right now? Right? Like what kinds of flour, what kinds of sugar, what kinds of like berries do you have to have available through a trading network in order to do that? That's more like I'm thinking about the anime as though it's Spice and Wolf, right? But oh, they find a master for him, huh? That's funny. I like that. And Stark, of course, is way too nice to say no to him, right? So this is definitely more of a chill out filler episode to sort of come down from the action, which yeah, sensible. But you can tell in the animation, you can tell in the background design as well. A lot of them are a lot more simple and basic. The restaurant, for example. Learn the lesson from Sen. Get her a Snickers, man. It's not that hard. Well, again, would the supply chain exist for her to get Snickers? Oh, he wants a warrior? Oh, he's gonna run into Stark. Please let him run into Stark. I want those two dipshits to get up in each other's business. That would be funny. Oh no. Oh, that's interesting. Her brothers dote on her. Well, that's interesting, because that was not the family relationship I expected from her. Oh, I see. She's gonna kill you. Yeah. It's not the backgrounds in this episode are bad. It's just some of them I can kind of tell, okay, this is not the same sauce as that fucking bar scene in the previous episode, right? Especially the restaurant kind of bothered me a little bit. That was way too basic for something that's supposed to be a restaurant that's been around for like 50 or 80 years. Danger! Danger! Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! It's a fun immaturity from Fern. Hang on, just a sec. 3, 2, 1, pause. What are you doing? I heard that. I heard that. Sorry, I heard my cat chewing on something and it sounded a bit like a wire, so I just. No. Yep, though she's not chewing on a wire, she's chewing on the cable sleeving I've got to protect my wires from being chewed on. Which, you know, that's what it's supposed to do, but. Artemis. I. Up at you. Now she's playing with one of the cable ties. Hang on, I need to climb under my desk. Oh, we're in a mood. We're in a mood. Yeah. Well, that's not ideal. Okay, then. I'm not editing any of that out, sorry. But you've probably noticed that the background went blank all of a sudden. There we go. There's a reason for that. Yeah, Artemis, she was hyphy. She was in a mood. She got herself tangled up in a wire, and that was the wire for one of my external hard drives. Specifically the one that happens to contain the file that plays in the background. So the rest of the background of this video is going to be black, I think. And I'm going to have to see about whether that drive is completely dead. Is it dead? That would be really bad. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's not good. I keep a lot of things on that drive, including most of the files I use to make YouTube videos. That's not good. Okay, let's finish watching this episode, and then I'm gonna go have a minor panic attack. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, get over it, Stark. He does attract weirdos, doesn't he? Yeah, a little bit filler this, but that's okay. And definitely on the, like, someone in the comments said that they might outsource parts of the production of Frieren, which makes sense to me. And this definitely feels like one of those episodes. Gianu Terry Pratchett. Well, I make YouTube videos, so that's I'm probably not gonna. I'll probably be forgotten pretty quick when I go, but that's okay. Oh yeah, like this is like the fucking slideshow thing with voiceover on it. That's like we have to preserve the budget mode. Okay, but give Stark a cool fight scene though. Like if he's running off with Dog Boy. Speaking of the devil, ruins of the king's tomb. and no one has ever passed. Yeah. Okay, so he's the Kakashi of this particular Naruto arc. Oh, nice way to show personality differences. Come on, you could have given Stark the fight scene. Let him look cool taking down a monster boar or whatever. Oh, she's the Kakashi. Doi. But she's a pacifist. Oh, that's interesting, though. That is interesting. She's a pacifist. So she's gonna be... But I do like the... showing a bit of the personality of each of the test takers. Like, she's having it read to her by one of her manservants. She's meditating in the forest because she's very serious and takes things. This lady is a bit more brutal about it. And then, like, come on, give my boy a fight scene. You demonstrate the essence of martial arts. I wanted to see that, though. I'm a pacifist now. See, that's interesting, because, like, first test, definitely concocted by someone who's, like, as I've rambled on about endlessly, definitely concocted for the purposes of forcing people to use their magic to do violence to each other. So what kind of test would a pacifist devise? Tune in next time on Frieren. Or rather, a show called Guy pauses Frieren frequently in order to warble about it on subjects that are moderately, mildly, and sometimes entirely unrelated to the actual subject of the thing. And if you want to see more of that, subscribe. Do that thing. Early access if you're a member of the channel. Costs $1 a month. You don't have to do it, though. I have a Patreon, merchandise store, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Links in the description. I'm going to go freak out about my hard drive now. Bye!